Hip-hop has always walked a tightrope between the streets that birthed it and the spotlight that magnifies every misstep. Strap in. Meek Mill served 171 days for a probation breach. A tussle at St. Louis Airport and a reckless bike riding charge in New York were enough for a Philadelphia judge to hammer Meek with 2 to 4 years for violating the decade-old probation tied to a 2009 gun and drug case. Furious backlash from fans and industry heavyweights got him out in 5 months, and in 2019 helped launch the Reform Alliance with Jay-Z, Michael Rubin, and many more, an organization aimed at overhauling parole and probation.
I always wonder what happened to the people that was in situations worse than mine. I'm here.
DMX also served 214 days for a probation breach.
Normal traffic stop. 18 cops.
One of many trips behind bars for the late, great Earl Simmons. This stint came after an Arizona drug-related probation violation, adding yet another chapter to his legal roller coaster.
Just a mention of my Savior's name. In the name of Jesus, devil, I rebuke you.
Tupac served 239 days for sexual assault conviction. Tupac Shakur was actually cleared of the majority of the charges in this case, in which a woman claimed she was raped by him and a number of other men in a hotel room in 1993. However, he was sentenced to a 1.5 years in prison for unwanted touching of the buttocks, the only charge that stuck. Lil Wayne served 241 days for attempted criminal weapon possession. The New York cops found a handgun on Weezy's tour bus in 2007. He pled guilty 2 years later and did 8 months on Rikers Island. Cassidy served 258 days for involuntary manslaughter.
I did get hit with a charge, aggravated assault.
After initially facing a murder rap in the 2005 killing of one man and the attempted murders of 2 others, Cassidy waived his right to trial by jury and submitted himself to the mercy of the judge, who declined to convict him of first-degree murder. Lil' Kim served 287 days for perjury and conspiracy. Kim's downfall wasn't the 2001 Hot 97 radio station shooting. It was lying about it. Security footage disproved her testimony, sending her to federal prison for nearly 10 months and forever reshaping her image. T.I. served 304 days for federal weapon charges.
I had lost sight of what was important. I had lost sight of, the faith that I had in God and how.
Federal agents busted T.I. in 2007 after his bodyguard purchased machine guns and silencers for him. A carefully negotiated plea shaved 9 years off a potential decade-long bid. Tory Lanez has served 2 years so far for an assault with a semi-automatic firearm and related gun charges. The July 2020 SUV argument that left Megan Thee Stallion shot in the back of her feet landed Tory an 8-year prison term on August 8, 2023. He maintains his innocence while appeals unfold. Young Buck served 414 days for weapon possession by a convicted felon. A 2010 Nashville raid uncovered a Glock 22 and piled onto Buck's prior Vibe Awards stabbing conviction in 2004, earning him an 18-month stretch he served in full.
Back to the ankle monitor, but I'm free.
JT of City Girls served 466 days for felony identity theft. JT was sentenced to 2 years in prison for scamming. She apparently used the credit cards of 3 different people between 2016 and 2017 and spent more than $1,000 of the stolen money. After her attorney in court name-dropped Drake and other artists who co-signed JT, she was able to finish the City Girls' debut album promo before turning herself in. JT spent the latter half of her sentence at a halfway house.
When I got out, I literally went to the halfway house for a couple months. I always tell this story.
6ix9ine served 501 days for federal racketeering and firearms charges. 6ix9ine was arrested for RICO and firearms charges in late 2018 as a result of his affiliation and actions alongside the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods. The rapper accepted a plea deal that would lower his time in exchange for testifying against members of the gang. For his cooperation, 6ix9ine was sentenced to 2 years in prison and 5 years of supervised release, including the time he had already served, Once the COVID-19 pandemic sparked up, 6ix9ine was released on house arrest due to the health concerns surrounding his asthma. He was ultimately free on supervised release in 2020. Tony Yayo served 508 days for weapons possession and forged passport. Just as G-Unit was about to blow, Tony Yayo went into the can in 2002 after cops found a gun in a car with 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, and Yayo. The other two got off scot-free, but Yayo got busted on an old warrant and picked up a year in jail. But the very day he made parole, Yayo handed in a fake passport to his officer and went straight back in.
In Paris, they would know you, like the security guards.
Aiswer Vezo served 552 days for gun possession by a felon. In 2015, police pulled up on Aiswer Vezo and his associates at a gas station in Detroit, searched Vezo, spotted him passing off a Glock. As a former felon, he was prohibited from carrying a firearm, and this ultimately gave him 20 months. Kodak Black served 611 days for state and federal weapons charges. Kodak Black was arrested ahead of a Rolling Loud performance in May of 2019. He later confessed that he lied on background checks while buying guns on 2 different instances. Both guns were later discovered at crime scenes, with one having Black's fingerprints on it in an incident where it was allegedly used to fire at another artist. A 4-year term ended early when President Donald Trump issued a 2021 pardon. J. Rule served 699 days for attempted possession of a weapon and tax evasion.
It's tough, but
Yeah, that shit happened it was the same night, right? The same show, same night. So I don't know, like, I mean,
Arrested the same 2007 night as Lil Wayne, Jay's priors brought 2 years. Tax charges tacked on 28 months, but ran concurrently with his gun charges.
Doing things behind the scenes as well.
Lil Baby served 730 days for probation violation. Multiple weed busts and a racially charged jail fight finally sent Baby away for 2 straight years.
I got into a fight, you know what I'm saying, and that sent me back.
Okay, you got into a fight with a white dude.
Exactly.
Upon his release, Lil Baby launched his rap career.
I want to be a superhero dad, like, but my kid feels like everything I do is just nothing wrong.
Beanie Sigel served 732 days for tax evasion and illegal possession of prescription drugs. Beanie Sigel was charged with 3 counts of failing to file tax returns on income of over $1 million, which triggered 25 months in prison. In August of 2012, 2 weeks before he had to turn himself in to begin the bid, Sigel was arrested on drug, weapons, and conspiracy charges after being pulled over by police. He began to serve time for his failure to file tax returns in the following month and was hit with an additional 6 to 23 months in county jail for illegal possession of prescription drugs. The time would be served concurrently with his prior sentence. In the summer of 2014, the rapper was released under the conditions that the remainder of his sentence be served in a halfway house.
Yeah, it was a couple records. I don't really...
Fetty Wap so far has served 2 years for trafficking 100+ kilograms of narcotics. Fetty's pandemic-era finances allegedly pushed him into a coast-to-coast drug ring. A revoked bond and a guilty plea netted him 6 years in prison. T. Grizzly served 840 days for home invasions and Kentucky robbery. He was a student at Michigan State University when he went on a robbing spree with one of his associates. Then later, a botched Kentucky smash and grab stacked to 18 months to 15 years. He served just over 2 before exploding with First Day Out.
These niggas prayed on my down.
Old Dirty Bastard served 860 days for narcotics possession, traffic violations, fleeing rehab, and fugitive violations. ODB's late 90s spiral climaxed with him absconding from court-ordered rehab, which he later popped up at a Wu-Tang show, then getting captured days later at a McDonald's. A 2 to 4 year term followed. Drakeo, the ruler, served 979 days for first-degree murder and attempted murder. Though found not guilty in 2019, prosecutors refiled lesser gang-related counts. Drakeo cut a plea in 2020, claiming innocence but walking free after nearly 3 years.
Draco the ruler, fresh out.
Oh, yeah.
How you feeling?
I don't know how I feel right now.
Gucci Mane served 985 days for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Gucci Mane was taken into custody for erratic behavior, carrying a firearm, possession of marijuana, and disorderly conduct. As a felon who was caught with a gun, Gucci was in big trouble but agreed to a plea deal that still landed him nearly 3 years. He emerged slimmer, sober, and ready for a career renaissance. YNW Melly so far has served 6 years for first-degree murder. Prosecutors say Melly shot childhood friends YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, staging a drive-by. A 2023 mistrial set up a retrial, scheduled for September 10, 2025, while he remains jailed without bond. Fat Trell served 1,195 days for illegal possession of a firearm by a previously convicted felon. A traffic stop uncovered an untraceable firearm and a suspended license. His 30-month sentence, with time served, released him in 2021, though he's since had further run-ins.
It's all love regardless, man. It is what it is, but...
Prodigy served 1,246 days for felony weapon possession. An illegal U-turn in 2006 led police to searching his vehicle and find another gun. He already had gun charges in the past from 2003. Locked up, the Mobb Deep legend wrote an autobiography and endless rhymes before returning to Queensbridge lore. 03, Greedo served 1,659 days for drug trafficking and possession of a firearm.
I actually did time for someone else. I was a passenger in a car. What are you talking about?
4 pounds of meth and 2 pilfered firearms equaled a 20-year sentence with parole potential. Good behavior got Greedo out in just over 4, and right back in the studio. Pimp C served 1,445 days for probation violation related to an aggravated assault charge. Flashing a gun during a mall dispute landed Pimp C probation. Skipping community service sent him to prison in 2002, birthing the Free Pimp C campaign movement and protest of the hip-hop community led by Bun B.
You had Bun B that really spearheaded this whole movement, and Jay-Z was supportive while I've been gone.
Boosie Badass served 1,577 days for marijuana possession, parole breach, and smuggling drugs into jail. Boosie was busted in 2009 on his 3rd weed possession charge, which landed him with a 2-year bid. The judge then doubled the sentence when Boosie violated his probation. Everything was doubled again when he pleaded guilty for trying to have drugs smuggled into his prison cell. This while he was fighting a murder rap after being accused of the 2009 killing of another local rapper. He stared down the death penalty and won the case, and celebrated with his release in 2014 after 5 years behind bars.
Yeah, my mom was out there. My brother was out there.
Tay-K so far has served 8 years for murder and aggravated robbery. Tay-K was arrested and charged with a group of people in a botched robbery in July of 2016 that left one dead. While under house arrest, Tay-K broke off his ankle monitor and did the race, resulting in the inception of the multi-platinum selling song. After he was apprehended, he was charged with another murder as police believed that he killed a photographer in an attempt to steal his photography equipment. He was sentenced to 55 years, then another 80, concurrent, after a second murder trial wrapped in April 2025. 42 Doug served 2,619 days for carjacking and gun possession. A teenage carjacking and prison fight stretched an initial 4-year term to 6. After fame, he skipped a 2022 gun probation check-in and served another 12 months. The Michigan-bred rapper was released from the United States Penitentiary Atlanta on October 2023. Slick Rick served 2,172 days for attempted murder and weapons charges. Rick shot an extorting cousin, accidentally injuring a bystander. A police chase followed, and the storyteller spent 5 years locked up at the peak of his career. Mystical so far has served 2 years for sexual battery, extortion, and failure to file tax returns. He also served 6 years for forcing sexual acts on a hairstylist over alleged theft in 2004. On July 31, 2022, Mystical was arrested on charges of rape and false imprisonment after being accused of brutally raping and assaulting a woman who was said to be in a long-time relationship with the rapper at his Prairieville, Louisiana home. He was later indicted by a grand jury for first-degree rape in connection with the incident. An indictment means he faces life if convicted.
Mystical and keeping him in jail because of his lengthy criminal history and the fact that
Rowdy Rebel served 2,198 days for conspiracy and weapons charges. Rowdy took 12 years but benefited when Bobby Shmurda copped extra time so both friends could leave sooner. He was hit with a slew of charges including attempted murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Rowdy walked free 6 years later, greeted by screaming Brooklyn fans. Bobby Shmurda served 2,260 days for conspiracy, reckless endangerment, and weapons charges. The hot nigga phenom was arrested alongside other members of his GS9 gang on multiple charges of conspiracy, murder, drugs, and weapons possession in December 2014 at Quad Studios. After receiving a 7-year sentence with additional charges for smuggling and contraband, Bobby served most of his time but was denied release in the fall of 2020. However, in early 2021, he ended up walking free at the end of his maximum expiration, not long after Rowdy Rebel came home.
So it's a touchy situation because it's like
Remy Ma served 2,318 days for assault, illegal weapon possession, and attempted coercion. She was accused of shooting a friend during an argument after $3,000 came up missing from her purse in 2007. Although Remy claimed the incident was an accident, she was sentenced to 8 years behind bars. Remy served 6 years and was released from Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women on August 2014, reinventing herself during and after her bid. Mysonne served 2,531 days for armed robbery. Just as he was about to drop his debut studio album in 1999, after a string of highly successful mixtapes, Mysonne felt the hammer fall with 2 convictions. He was charged with armed robbery stemming from 2 separate cab driver robberies in 1998, both for which he claimed his innocence. 14 years came down from the judge, and even though he only ended up serving 7, he never really recovered career-wise. He was released in 2006.
Reality is money is what keeps you out of jail. It's not innocence. Is you get the best lawyers, you get all of these things, you prepare proper.
Flesh and Bone served 2,851 days for assault with a deadly weapon and probation violation. After years of gun incidents, the Bone Thugs member pointed an AK-47 at a friend. 12 years came down, though his tragic childhood was noted in court. Shine served 3,049 days for attempted murder, assault, and reckless endangerment. A 1999 shootout involving Diddy and Jennifer Lopez earned Shine a decade. The rapper admitted to firing a gun in self-defense. Shine claimed another gunman's bullets injured 2 victims. Once he was released from prison in 2009, Shine was deported and sent back to his native Belize. Today, he's a politician.
I'm always remorseful that anyone got hurt, even if it wasn't for my gun, because according to the victims, it was Diddy that shot them. But I don't regret defending myself because I wouldn't be here.
Turk served 3,116 days for attempted murder of police officers. Turk was charged with first-degree attempted murder for allegedly shooting 2 Memphis cops during a raid in an apartment he was found in. Turk denied pulling the trigger, but still served nearly 9 years of a 14-year sentence.
And man, I thought I was gonna die in prison, dog. You know, and when I came home, everybody had.
BG served 3,701 days for felony gun possession and witness tampering. Stolen guns in a stolen car, plus witness tampering, equaled 14 years. Cash Money's former star was out in 11, eager to rejoin New Orleans rap. Bump J served 3,702 days for bank robbery and weapons charges. Bump J and another man walked into a Chicago bank and emptied it of $100,000 in 2007. He was arrested while on a run during a traffic stop in 2008. He entered a plea deal, taking 7 years for the heist. He was released in 2017.
It feels good to be home. I know you miss me.
Chia Lee served 4,102 days for manslaughter. A family quarrel turned deadly, and a year-long fugitive run placed the teen rap prodigy on America's Most Wanted. He served 12 of 14 years. G. Depp served 4,349 days for a 1993 cold case murder he confessed to in 2010.
He like grabbed the gun, and it was kind of like a struggle. And I pulled the gun back from him, and then I fired.
Stricken by guilt, the former bad boy artist walked into an NYC precinct and admitted to a botched robbery turned homicide. A jury confirmed the link, and he served 13 years.
I killed a man in in 1999.
Max B so far has served 15 years for convicted of conspiracy to armed robbery, kidnapping, aggravated assault, and murder. Though absent from the 2006 hotel robbery that left a man dead, prosecutors said Max orchestrated it. He received a 75-year prison sentence after being pinned in the conspiracy. However, after going back to the drawing board with his case, Max's charges have since been reduced to manslaughter and his sentence shortened to just 12 years. He is expected to be released in November of 2025. C. Murder so far has served 15 years for second-degree murder. A retrial following his initial conviction in September of 2003 placed him on house arrest until the second conviction in 2009. In January of 2002, a 16-year-old at a nightclub was caught up in an altercation outside the venue, where he was beaten and shot to death, allegedly by C. Murder. Corey Miller's case remains mired in controversy. Supporters, including Kim Kardashian, still press for a retrial. Mac Phipps served 7,214 days for manslaughter. In February of 2000, No Limit rapper Mac Phipps was slated to perform at a Louisiana club before a fight broke out and ended with a gunshot that killed a 19-year-old man. Phipps was charged with murder, though it was reduced to a 30 years to life manslaughter sentence in September of the following year. A security guard who was present at the incident later confessed to the shooting, but the police still decided to pursue charges against Phipps, making this a high-profile case of wrongful imprisonment. After spending nearly 20 years behind bars, Mac was granted clemency and walked free in the summer of 2021.
As if to suggest that because I wrote these type of songs, that I was highly or more than likely capable of committing this crime. And that's the issue we have here with Free Our Art. It's like it's being used literal.
Big Lurch so far has served 22 years for murder, torture, and aggravated mayhem. High on PCP, Lurch killed and mutilated a friend's girlfriend. Officers found him screaming in the street, flesh in his stomach. He is serving life without parole, one of the darkest sagas in rap history. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.